Yo, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Yo, Where You From? I'm Anwar Fikri.
Anthony Knight.
And today we have our guest, Latif Idris.
Hey, yo.
What up?
going on,
What
man?
up,
What's up,
buddy?
man?
What's going on,
Happy to
guys?
have you, man.
Happy to be here, man.
Got our coffee in, you know.
yeah,
my-
all the way out.
My man came in struggling, dog. We had to make sure we had to get him right.
Bro, it's been an interesting few hours for you. No, I was even thinking about that, like driving down here. I live an interesting life, man. It's weird. It's like, 'cause I was telling you all the story about with that guy who I did the first session with.
Yeah.
And then, like even last night, 'cause like 2 nights a week, I drive for Lyft, which I mean it was a bit that I had like when I first started out, and so no lie, I ended up picking up a girl named Latifah.
Oh, shit.
I swear to God on everything, this is true.
Yeah.
And like, so we were driving and shit like that, and then they were in DC. DC's like shut down, so they had to they went to Arlington, like that kind of with Clarendon area, and they went up there and rolled out. I left. I kept driving around, and then they called me because of course I gave them my number, and then they like texted me like, "Hey, what you doing?" Blah blah blah. Then I came back and like when I was done and we drove around, I went back to their hotel and stuff. And
You smash a girl name with your same name with an A?
No, we didn't smash.
Come on, man.
We didn't smash. No.
I'm about to say, hey.
No, made out. But like that's
okay. All right.
Yeah,
still.
but like but
yeah, it's like you couldn't get.
Okay, I'll say this, like, 'cause we had a good time, and like it was a fantastic time and stuff, and 'cause I had the same like discussion with like my boy a couple of days ago. My whole idea going out is having a good time.
Yeah.
Facts.
So like at the end of the night, let's just say, which it didn't happen, didn't hook up, nothing like that. At the end of the night, I had a great day. Like it was a fun time. Got to hang out with like a couple new people. It was cool.
Yeah, for sure.
If I went into that with the idea of just like, oh, I gotta hook up, blah blah blah, and I didn't, night would have been blown.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
Like it doesn't always have to be. You know what I mean? Like
Fair enough.
I always say like with dudes
But
say
I'm
that.
way more focused that this bitch's
That's
name was Latifah, bro.
It wasn't in.
He's still stuck on Act 1
Yeah,
of the story.
dog.
Yes.
That's like I'm dating a girl named Anwarina. I mean, saying your name in bed, like, you know what I mean?
Like let's not act like I didn't try.
All right,
Like,
fair enough.
I'm just saying, didn't like.
But your night wasn't pass or fail based off of
based
smashing.
off
or
of
Yeah.
smash or
Yeah,
not
that's
smash.
true.
No. So it worked out well. But yeah, no, I tried.
All right.
Repeatedly.
Well, good shit,
Yeah.
man. Well, listen, on this podcast, it's like about family history. It's about, your heritage.
Yeah.
So we usually start off by just asking, like, yo, like, where was your mother born?
That's how we start the questions. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
just straight into it.
That's funny.
Not where are you from, but your mother.
Yo, where was your mother from?
That's funny. Okay, I
Mom
guess.
and dad, so.
Well, all of us were born in the same place, Eritrea.
Eritrea.
Yeah.
So, okay. Eritrea is, from my understanding,
yeah.
was once part of Ethiopia.
Yeah.
And then there was a beef, right?
Yeah, quite a beef.
A big one. And
Yeah.
then they split off, and now they're good, right?
Now they're good. Well, yeah.
Well,
I mean, it's Africa.
Yeah.
Like,
CIA, man.
Yeah,
Let's
just-
go. We always ready. General butt naked in this joint.
Oh man, General! I love how General Butt Naked
He's the marker.
Icon.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That's it.
He just came to represent African conflict because I mean, he kind of says it all in the title.
No,
General butt naked.
It's like a certain type of person, because like I'll say it, like I'll throw it out there like after like a tagline or something, and like
Yeah.
the person that laughs at General Butt Naked, I'm like, you're a scumbag too.
Yeah,
Like,
dog.
Exactly. Anyone who laughs at General Butt Naked is a fucked up individual that I love.
All
Like,
right,
yeah.
man. That's me, man.
Exactly, man.
But yeah, so okay, but your parents. When was the conflict?
It started like late 60s, early 70s, and it just kept going on all the way to like mid 90s.
Wow. So
What was the
so you were
beef?
there for it. You were there for the heat.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That's the reason why we
Yeah,
moved
yeah,
out,
sure, right.
obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. And how'd your parents meet? Like, were they? What were they doing when they were living over there?
Fleeing.
Yeah. Just dipping, just running.
No, I
We
mean,
got all the records.
it's like the third world story. They met
Yeah.
when they were super young.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
like, it's one of those things where there wasn't, like going out to like different cities and you just end up
course,
being
yeah.
with like person within your
Radius,
vicinity.
yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So they ended up getting together. It wasn't like one of those things where they can just hit the 2-seater and go to like capital city kind of. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's it. So they ended up getting together and started a family. And then once it got a little hot, we all moved out to DC.
Said, fuck it. Yeah, it's time to get out of here. Yeah.
Yeah, and that like is a whole fucking thing, obviously. So
Mhm.
we had to like go from Eritrea to Saudi Arabia, back to Eritrea, back to Saudi Arabia, and then
Whoa.
fly from Saudi
Dang.
Arabia.
Why'd you have to go back?
Oh, miscommunication, I guess. Like it's like because you couldn't fly from Eritrea to the United States,
Right.
So you'd have to go, and then Saudi Arabia is right across the water.
Yeah, yeah.
So you just take instead of going to like
The Gulf of Aden.
what's
or
it?
no.
Red Sea.
The Red Sea.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So you cross the Red Sea in Saudi Arabia, then Saudi Arabia and United
Where's
States.
the Gulf? I don't even know where that is now.
Shit, now I'm thinking about it.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, not in the right mind state.
Yeah,
for,
yeah, yeah.
like,
This is
the
not a
Gulf.
geography podcast, dog. Fuck it.
So
But
you
yeah.
got to Saudi Arabia the first time and then realized, did you forget something back then?
Well, I mean, yeah, other family
Oh,
members. Like, couldn't all go in, like,
Yeah.
Oh, it was like a shuttle service.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
okay,
I got a lot of siblings. We
Oh.
can't like all
Yo, where's
jump out.
Mustafa at?
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
Home Alone, like
Yeah.
Wars edition.
Home Alone.
Just That's fucked up.
My bad, dog.
No, man. Fucking don't apologize for that shit.
All right,
man.
Dude, that's funny as hell. Yeah. That's you, like, what end up, you gotta go in droves. You can't take everybody. So
Yeah.
it went back and forth and then flew from
Were
Saudi
you on the
Arabia,
first
United
shuttle?
States. No, I was on the second shuttle.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was one of the last ones, man. It was because we ended up moving when I was like 7, going to 8. So
Okay.
I mean, I got memories of the shit, but it's not. I mean,
It's just
not
like
it's
images or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, like certain years pass by and stuff, and
Yeah.
so now kind of remember,
Kinda,
kind of
yeah.
not. Yeah,
Right, right.
So you came to DC though.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And then so you grew up in DC when you came here?
Yeah, I lived in Southwest DC from when I came in all the way till 16. Well, 17 really, and then ended up moving from there to LA, and then lived in LA till like 2019, end of 2019,
Yeah.
and then the only time I ever came back here during that time is like I fought twice in this area.
Wow. Oh, so you flew back from LA?
Yeah, but like I was only like it's literally you go in, you come in, you fill out all the paperwork and stuff or what you needed to do, weigh in, fight Saturday night, leave Sunday. So I didn't get to like
It's like a work.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
weren't
Yeah.
catching up with
Business trip,
everybody.
Yeah. So
for
like
sure.
I'd come back here and like hang out with like siblings and shit like that. But that's like in my hotel room and then
Right.
fly back home. So
And this was a MMA fight. Or
yeah,
is it- or
both
is
of
it-
them
yeah,
was.
both of them.
Wait, no, one was Muay Thai and the other one was MMA.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna ask. Like with your fighting thing,
Yeah.
how did you start? When did you start fighting? How'd you get into that?
I started training when a few years after like coming in from Southwest DC. So like around like 12, 13. So
Oh,
like
well, so pretty young.
So you were still in DC when you started?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha, yeah.
I started training when I was like mad young and like different gyms around like the area and stuff like that. And then DC didn't have like a fight scene like it had today. It's a whole different thing, obviously. Like
Yeah.
you got killers everywhere in this area, but like back then, it wasn't one of those places where you can like start training and then fighting like amateur and then turning pro or that kind of deal.
Right.
But at that time, we were talking like it's like 16, like 2007, 2008, like around that time. At the West Coast was where it's at. So
yeah.
and then like I had an older brother, my oldest one. He was like he got out like in DC, then did the whole probation thing where you got to stay in the area and everything, and then he moved out to LA.
Wait.
So,
You
yeah,
just
I know.
skipped over the part where he went to prison. Or jail,
Yeah.
That's fine. We don't have to talk about another. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
I
I'm not
mean,
trying. I'm not trying. You know what I mean? But yeah, he got out. He's like,
Yeah.
he got out of what? Oh, probation. Okay, I got it.
No. I mean, like, okay,
No, it's
because
all good.
I guess depending. Okay, I guess gotta break prison stories, but like depending on what you serve, obviously,
yeah.
like you gotta serve for like probationary period.
Uh-huh.
So there was a probationary period for I forget how many years and stuff, but you couldn't leave the area, and so he was there for like for a certain amount of time, and then after the probation was over, he's like, I just want to get out of here.
So
and
he was fighting too, though.
No.
Well, I mean, he had to probably. Just my guess.
Yeah.
He was ready to make a move.
Yeah, just fighting with like telephone books around,
Yes,
like
yeah.
chest protector. Like, I'm taking you all with me.
No, this is my pro fight. He's still doing like promos.
No, like none of my. I mean, my little brother does jujitsu now, so I'm happy.
Okay.
But like
Yeah,
nobody else.
Nobody
in my-
else.
Yeah.
So it's just you. That's
Yeah.
funny. What they think? What did your your family think when you started getting into it?
Oh, they did not like it at all.
For real?
Yeah, that's one of the other reasons why I moved. Like, I mean, LA was like the scene for like to get into fighting and all that.
Yeah.
But my parents were no,
So,
don't
like,
fight.
LA was that
Right.
fresh start for you to like just
I-
chase
Just
that.
get out of
and
your
get it,
the yoke.
Well,
and
it
just the
was-
judgment.
it's
and
like a
stuff, part of
twofold
that.
kind of
Yeah,
thing.
right.
Like, all right, look,
You're going to the best spot.
I'm fighting amateur here. There's not really that many opportunities here to do it, but in the West Coast there is. And now my older brother's out there, and you know
Yeah.
he's like more grounded. Like he's older. He's got like a place, all that. I can go stay there with him and help him out with like bills and shit. You know.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then also my parents are like, "Oh, if you do this, we're gonna kill you." That kind of thing. So I was like, "Oh."
It's like that's
So-
why I started fighting in the first
Yeah,
place.
yeah,
trying to
so
defend myself.
it's just one of them things where like I'm like, all right, let me just accelerate my like graduating from high school and stuff, and
Yeah.
did that and just rolled out.
Now, I want to backtrack a little bit. It might correlate with your like fighting, but like when you first came to America, like what was that experience like, and then how did that? Lead you to be a
progressive
fighter.
fighting. Okay, that's easy. So I guess with the fighting, because like all right, so it's Southwest DC, and this is like late '90s
Okay.
coming in. So
Okay. It wasn't
Yeah,
gentrified
exactly.
yet. Yeah,
no,
yeah.
no, not at all. I like that was a whole trippy fucking thing about
Yeah.
like going to LA because I didn't come out and chill here like ever. Like whenever my family would
Uh-huh.
want to see us, you know, it's LA, it's sunny. Hey guys, how about we take a family trip to see? You know,
Yeah,
like
whatever,
Yeah,
yeah.
see as the brother. So like any
Right.
holidays and stuff
Yeah.
like that, they would just come out to LA as opposed to us coming here.
got you.
So
yeah.
I did not like come to DC to chill for was that 11, 12 years? Like
Oh,
it was
wow.
a while. So
Wow, yeah.
yeah. So I remember DC in a whole entirely
Yeah.
different light.
Yeah.
And
Wow,
like-
yeah, that's a big yeah.
Yeah. So I came out here and I mean it was crazy because. You know, I always that's like a bit that I always had about like how my three brothers like look like stereotypical black dudes. Like you know,
Uh-huh.
one's got a fro, one's
Uh-huh.
got bald,
Uh-huh.
one's dreads, and like you know,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I don't look like black at all. So it became a thing for like Southwest DC, and you know, I talk a lot, and I'm not the biggest person in the world, so I kept getting like my ass whooped.
So yeah, it's like back against the wall. It's
Yeah.
like yeah, I better
So-
learn to yeah.
Well, it's just one of those things where, like, you know, you'd be out in, like, what you call Southwest DC, and people talk shit to me, and I'm like, I'll talk shit back, and then they beat me up, and I'm like, all right, listen, you're not going to stop talking shit, Latif, so you might as well learn.
See, that's
how to,
the
like,
difference
protect yourself.
between DC and Montgomery County is
Yeah.
it's just shit talking and nonstop.
Yeah.
And at a certain point in DC, it's time to fight.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
I might have been a fighter if
Yeah.
I lived in DC.
Yeah, no, it did not take
Yeah.
much. It
Yeah.
really did it. Like, oh, just because it'd be like, fuck, like, okay, what would they say, like, in South when I first moved out? Like, they think I was, like, Indian and stuff, so they'd, like, go, and I'm like, bro, fuck you,
Yeah.
you broke
Like,
as shit.
yeah.
Bam, like, punch me in the
Yeah.
face. And, you know, like, even, like, the first fight, the first fight I ever had, like, it was one of those things where I was young, like, it was, like, the first, like, month I was out in Southwest DC, and, like, I'll never forget this. It's, like, a kid named Rodney. And like
got the names.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
That's a bully ass
Yeah.
name,
I
Rodney.
should have known because Rodney used to rock those like fingerless gloves, but
Oh,
like
shit.
the camo ones, like the army fingerless
Oh,
ones, and I'm
no.
like,
Oh,
oh,
so
fuck.
you knew he was about to smoke.
And he was like he's like, you know, because I was like 8 at the time, and he's, you know, Rodney was like a few years older, so he's like 11, something
Uh-huh.
like that.
Yeah.
And Rodney, like it was one of those things where like we talk shit, and then he's like, we're walking towards each other, and Rodney knew how to throw like a 1-2,
Uh-huh.
like he had that down, right?
Yeah.
And like all I knew was like watching like WWE and stuff, so
Right.
I'm doing like this.
It's like I gotta wait for him to get on the ground before I can hit the people's elbow.
Yeah.
You know?
But you know, like how those wrestling matches start where they like
Yeah,
do the whole
the
like lobby
grapple
thing?
and shit,
So,
yeah.
I kept, like, so the fight was like I would keep like coming in, and he just pop 1-2, like as he kept, as I kept. Bam, bam, and then, like he beat. That was the first fight I ever had. Was just kept trying to like wrestle lock the guy like I was the Ultimate Warrior, and he just kept punching me in the face over and over
God
again.
damn.
Oh, man.
Fucking Rodney. Where's Rodney now?
Well, you
Prison,
tell us.
probably.
Okay. I believe that. Damn. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So it must have been. I mean, you
Coming
probably
back.
getting. You probably had to get funny too because you were probably getting joned on a bunch.
Oh yeah, cool.
You gotta have the
Like,
fire.
oh,
Yeah, you
like,
gotta
roasted,
have the haymakers
dude.
well,
ready.
all the fucking
You
time.
had to,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? To survive, you had to
Yeah.
be able to throw
Well,
some shit back at him.
Dude, it's always fucking funny, especially with like you know, rougher neighborhoods and stuff like that, because they'd be like the dudes would fight you and the girls would make fun of you. That's how
Oh
it is.
damn!
Funny
So,
So like,
yeah.
oh,
Yeah,
the so much worse insults
Oh,
came from
yeah,
like
yeah,
women
yeah.
all the fucking time.
Oh, and then they would have the designated laugher, the girl who just had a piercing laugh.
Yeah, that laugh
Just
made it
like-
worse than ever.
She's
yeah.
not the
Yeah.
one roasting you, but
No,
she
but
would
the
just
laugh.
gas up the
Yeah.
big laugh, and you couldn't even like
Shit wouldn't
timing
be
wise.
funny, but it's just the laugh. Yeah.
Dude.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
worst.
yeah, no,
That
girls
shit
were a
hurt,
lot more
bro.
meaner, especially growing up. They were, and fucking. I love them. You know, I love her girl. So it's funny. So it would just suck trying to like get with them, and then dude, they just look at me like, "Fuck off, Apu." Like,
Oh,
Yeah, that's good for the old self-esteem there.
Yeah, that sucks, man. Like especially okay, how would I put this? Getting made fun of by an insult of another race
That's-
sucks. You know what
yeah,
I mean? Like
yeah.
hit me with like an Ethiopian joke. At least we're like neighboring countries.
I
Like,
can
like
relate,
that.
dog.
Yeah.
Growing up, like teenage years, 12, 13, people used to call me Asian and Chinese just because I have a step grandmother who's Chinese. I'm like, I don't even eat rice like that. Like, why are you going on me? And it sucks because it's like
Yeah.
you can't really, like, you're mad, but you're not offended.
Yeah.
It's like, you know.
At least offend me. I
Yeah.
get the race right. At
Exactly.
least, you know?
Oh, I
Yeah.
mean, they still have, I mean, yeah, to this day, I get jokes of, you know, it sucks. Just
Yeah.
different nationalities.
I get grouped in with all the Arabs, so post 9/11 is rough. I'm sure you're just off your name. You got
fucking
that
A,
shit.
man.
You probably
Yeah.
went through the same shit.
Especially here.
That's really where I cut my teeth, dog.
Dude.
Is like 9/11 jokes, throwing them back at Jewish people, Asian people.
No,
fucking-
I've got to.
it's all on racial shit.
It's like the
you know what I
world's
mean?
largest racial handicap match.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
Exactly,
That was an interesting like day to be in Washington D.C. too, man. Because
Yeah.
I never ended up going to like public school out in D.C. I ended up going to a private, like a Muslim private school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and like it'd be a bus to get in there and all that shit. And you know, it happened, and we were trying to get back in, but remember all the bridges were like shut down, so you couldn't get through there. So we ended up it ended up going through the hood, like through like, you know, the bridge and goes like 295
Oh,
and all that to like
shit.
southeast,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
how we got into DC. And I was like, bullshit, you couldn't get to DC through like the richer parts, like Georgetown, everything was
course,
shut down.
right.
But like southeast was like totally fine to go
So it's
into.
wide
man.
open. Just
Yeah.
go on through.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'll never
Yeah.
forget that. I was like, oh fuck, man, like the projects you can get in, no problem. Al Qaeda could have just got in through like just Berry Farms, but
Yeah,
through like
yeah.
Georgetown and like through the
Georgetown, yeah.
Jefferson
No
Memorial,
chance.
no.
No way.
Yeah.
That's
Man, So
crazy.
you were right in the heart of it.
Damn, that's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were out. I mean, I'm Montgomery County when it
Yeah.
happens. Like, you were too, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. And so for us, it was just like, yeah, hey, you guys need to go home.
Yeah.
Everybody like went home, but one of the teachers let us watch on the news,
Yeah.
like while it was happening, and then one of my teachers, her husband, died in the Pentagon.
Fuck. Yeah.
It was like, damn, it was like crazy.
Yeah, they let us
So-
watch it in school. I want to like they didn't give a fuck back then. They were just like, yeah. Now it's everyone would have gotten it before on their cell phones.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, dude, it's funny.
Like, was school even closed at this point? Like, you know, if something like that happened, you think? Like something as big as the World Trade Center?
you know, yeah, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you
Yeah.
know, shit's happening. You go on your timeline and something's blowing up. or
Nothing
someone-
beats that though. That's the
Pretty
ultimate.
high up
Okay,
there.
but there's a mass shooting at a school every
Well,
so
then I
often.
guess,
Schools
yeah.
are still up. We're just going to keep going. You know?
They don't study after that.
No, I'm talking
The
about the
next-
other
the next
schools.
day.
Oh, worldwide, I
yeah,
guess?
worldwide, yeah.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
I
I guess.
mean,
Yeah.
I guess it's got to be like the 9/11 of
Yeah.
school shootings.
Well, the
Ah,
DC
jeez,
sniper.
yeah.
I mean, now
Golly.
they're like, I mean, schools are basically kind of shut down now. But like with the sniper, you know, you were around for that shit.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
there was no staying home for 3 weeks until they caught him.
No, you just
No,
had
you
no-
went in and then
no.
you couldn't leave to go get lunch and shit no more,
exactly.
dog.
Bro,
Like,
that was-
damn, man.
that whole time was just freaky as shit. Cause people would get scared of like pumping gas and like gas
Yeah,
stations
yeah.
and
You have
stuff,
to like
white
zigzag
vans.
everywhere
Yeah.
and shit.
Yeah,
it
I
was,
remember that. I remember it was white vans and they caught him in a completely different
Yeah,
jaunt.
right.
I was like, what the fuck?
And
Like,
at the end, it
why
was
were we
just-
hiding from white vans?
The biggest
know.
twist was I thought it was a white guy. I mean, we all did.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That-
And then his
ultimate
name was
prophet.
Muhammad. I was like, damn, man.
Yeah,
So-
9/11
a
was
break.
starting to finally like simmer down, and then
Yeah,
this
yeah.
happens. Yeah.
Muhammad.
We all thought it was a white guy. I'm still laughing at that. I'm like, that's like some positive racism. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, we all thought it was a white guy.
He's a
Like,
white guy.
you
Yeah.
think-
Oh,
like
yeah.
black people aren't that evil or diabolical.
Yeah,
with
look,
their
this is
crimes.
what
Like-
y'all do. You can say
Right,
whatever about a
exactly.
drive-by, but look what y'all do.
Sniping motherfuckers.
Serial killers.
No, bro, that was a
Yeah.
Black
fun
dude
old
named
time.
Muhammad. Fuck.
I know that fuck man. That's always the first thing I always think of, and like attacks and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, please don't let it be like Ali Akbar.
Right,
Yeah.
dude. Oh my god. Yeah, man.
Start getting double looks everywhere I go.
That was it's weird that you have to like like you have to like eat what somebody from your race does. You know what I'm saying? Or from your culture. Like I have to now. My life sucks a little more because there's
Somebody
someone
you don't
crazy
even know.
who sort of like, you know what I mean?
That's true. I know everyone always says that the whole thing about having to like excuse your race and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
Muslim doesn't. I don't know. I feel like it's getting a little more equal across the bounds of like with white people trying to take like you know what I mean. I feel like they're eating it a little more nowadays. As
For
opposed to, like,
sure,
something like,
dude.
There's
Yeah,
a lot left on the plate for them to eat.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
got a lot of catching
For
up to do.
sure.
that
They're-
is true.
They're taking some unnecessary L's out here just because it's payback time.
Right.
It's just
Well,
starting.
And and that now you're getting that thing now. It's like, oh, cancer culture.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
always see that shit like in the news. I'm like, tough. Deal with it. You know, fuck you. Deal with it. Like,
Yeah,
you
well,
know.
don't be too like deal with it because you're getting into comedy, dog. you're on the plate too.
If you're trending, get canceled. You don't want to. Yeah, just deal with it. It's gonna. I mean, but your shit. I mean, nothing edgy. I mean, it's edgy, but it's not like cancel. You know,
Yeah,
none
I'm
of us.
talking about like 5 years from now. You know what I'm
That's a
saying?
good point. But I feel like I check a lot of boxes. So it's always one of those things where people
Yeah.
can be like, "Oh, you're racist." They can be like, "Oh, I'm, pull something out of the hat, like, African,
Yeah.
Muslim, like,
Yeah.
Bro.
refugee." You know?
Yeah, it's
no,
gonna
that
be
won't
hard
work.
to
Yeah.
hate on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
A Muslim girl named Dina Hashem got canceled.
God
Anybody's for dinner,
I'm
dog.
fucked.
You remember that?
Yeah.
You remember that?
Wait, was that?
She did a joke about
I did. Now I'm trying to think of it. Was it? What's his name? Shane.
Shane Gillis. No,
No,
it was
either that or Louis C.K.
I forget, but I forgot who she did a joke about. It was like I forgot the whole situation really, but
No,
I
but I
just
remember what you're
there was,
talking
like,
about.
She went through this whole thing,
Yeah.
and she was like one of the funniest like comics in New York and shit, and like she actually went through some like serious like she had some problems with
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah.
I mean nobody. I mean at the end,
And
it's
no,
like,
no one can get.
if you don't, if you're the
Yeah.
way to be uncancelable is to not care.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of the
That's
route
it.
I'm gonna try to take.
Yeah,
you
me
know?
too.
Just not give a fuck.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like if you just don't apologize for anything and just always remember that, I'd like to think that people understand that it's under the context of comedy. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
nothing I'm
Yeah.
saying
I think-
here is.
I mean, Chappelle went up against the trans community and
Bro,
stood his ground.
Chappelle.
That's what I'm
dog.
saying. I know, but I'm
Yeah.
saying like the trans community is also the trans community. They're pretty
Yeah.
much undefeated. When
Yeah,
they
yeah,
go up
yeah.
against-
He's-
So it's like a heavyweight fight.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
you
That's
promote-
it.
yeah.
That's true.
And Chappelle, he lasted.
Listen, at the end of the day, it's like the majority of people aren't sensitive and like, you know what I'm saying? It's the people who are vocal that makes
Yeah.
it seem like that.
You
know
don't
what I mean?
think that it's kind of like that it's getting shut down a little bit?
the cancel culture?
Yeah,
I think
I
it
feel
is.
like
It
it
is.
is,
Yeah.
especially
is.
like after
It's
the whole
gonna swing
Corona
back
thing.
around. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, we don't have time for that. It's too much
Yeah.
real shit going on.
Yeah.
for sure.
This is stupid. You know what I mean?
I think
We
that's
don't
one of the
care.
positives of this whole pandemic deal. Like it feels like a lot of people have that kind of thought process now.
Like
Yeah,
fuck all
That
that
they're like,
survival.
shit.
yeah.
I mean, that's what really. It's like it does
Yeah.
feel like that. Like,
Yeah,
why? I mean, of all the things to care about.
Why
exactly.
it's like
This is what
petty
you-
shit that doesn't
Yeah.
matter
Yeah,
like
man.
that. Like,
Yeah.
have fun, enjoy what we do, and if you don't like it, get the fuck
Yeah.
out. you know?
Yeah.
yeah, and then it's gonna end up being like a kind of the whole reciprocal thing. People stop caring about it less, and people are not gonna be so inclined to like post about it and talk about it because they're not gaining anything out of it because nobody
Yeah.
gives a shit.
Yeah.
Hopefully it keeps going that way, but then you're right. It's like a whole cycle thing. It's cyclical. Like in 5 years, like it could be a whole entirely different thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Sure.
Yo, have you gone back to Eritrea?
yeah.
You go back regularly or like?
No. Like I'm trying to think of the last time I went. Like 4 years ago.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
just go for like a
Like
couple
go-
months or like a couple weeks.
No, a couple weeks, a couple
Yeah.
months would be. That's it,
It's
man.
like, I love y'all, but I need to
Like,
get back.
Hey man,
the,
we used to
the
go.
Western world spoiled me, man.
I
It's over.
feel you, dog. Well, yo, growing up, dog,
It's
growing up,
over.
like every 2 or 3 years, like my parents would save up, and
Yeah.
then we would go to Morocco for the whole summer. Like,
Yeah.
the day we get out of school to the day like a week before school starts, we would just be in Morocco, and and we wouldn't. That wasn't every year or every summer. Like, we
Yeah.
couldn't afford that, but yeah, then you grow up and like you got a life and
Yeah.
stuff, and it's just harder to get back. Now, yeah, I can't imagine going back for like a few months. And
Yeah,
stuff.
no, that'd be tough, man.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, the longer I like, the distance of me living there till now, like I can tell, like even when the last time I went back, like I can like speak Tigray like fluently and stuff, and I'll start talking, and people give me like that whole weird like snake eye look, and I'm like, what's wrong? You can't understand me? And they'll be like, no, I can understand you. Like you
Yeah.
speak fine, but you like talk like a news anchor. Like that's what they say.
Yeah.
That's what they always say.
That's
like
so funny.
yeah, like akhbar and stuff like that,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
newscaster. I'm like,
Right,
oh,
right,
because
right.
none of the you lose all the like the vernacular
Oh
and
my
the
God.
colloquialisms.
Well, and then here's the other thing
Yeah.
too, right? For me, for Derija, which is like the Moroccan Arabic,
Yeah.
I will like my slang and stuff that I get from speaking to my mom and my
Yeah.
dad. Whenever your parents leave, that's when they
Yeah.
leave is like their accent that they take with them. Then, so like I talk like I'm from the 70s, like in Morocco. So I'm over there like in Arabic, like "What's up, you jive turkeys?" You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, wait, you speak
Oh,
Arabic, dude?
شوية.
See
ده
now.
درجة they're not the same, you know.
No. الان نحن قاعد نتكلم عن خلاص موضوع ثاني. كلم جنب الاخبار وكل شيء.
شيء ده أنا كنت فهمت شوية وش من كنت قلت لك أنت.
لا بس قلت خلاص معانا لغة ثانية. هذا موضوع ثاني واخبار ثاني من
فهمتك.
Okay, خلاص. See, that worked
Yeah.
out. See,
Yeah, no, that was-
There's
yeah.
there's some cross
I'm
things,
with
but
it.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's definitely tough. I'm like I have to strain and listen to every word
well,
to get it because my shit is so different. You know what I mean?
it's
And then
funny,
your shit's
yeah.
different, but then you also can just speak classical Arabic too, right?
That's
yeah.
the thing.
So that's what's like. So even for classical Arabic,
Yeah.
which if I go back to Morocco, I'll like pick it up where I would be able to understand it more and more and more.
Yeah.
But like since it's been a while, bro, and I'm not really talking to anybody like that.
Yeah.
And my parents are Americanized too now. Dog. Like
Dude, that's funny.
Anwar, how are you?
Yeah.
You okay? You okay?
Dude, yeah, no, my parents just end up because they only talk to me in Tigray. That's how we end up
Oh,
sticking with.
yeah.
Because you figured you learn English in like school and stuff, so I just like stick with Tigray. You
So
know.
my parents had this like backwards thing where they were like, well, I don't know if it was backwards, but they just like they were worried about me like having an accent and being judged my whole life. So they should
It's a
speak to
smart way
me
to
in
do it.
English. And I think part of that was to help them learn English quicker too.
Yeah.
So, like-
that's true.
So we would speak, I mean, you know Spanglish, but like Arabish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's all mixed up, but
But you're right about like even like Morocco, because if I talk to our people like Morocco, like in Arabic, it's like a whole different. Like they got a little French involved in there
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
It's like I have to like kind of like
You gotta
you
strain, like,
pick it
what?
up and stuff like that. I
yeah.
know.
And even from north and south, Morocco is
Yeah.
different because the north is like they'll say like stito, which is like a Spanish word for small. You know?
Yeah.
So they'll have Spanish mixed in,
That's true, man.
and
And
like
you got the Southern Moroccan accents.
yeah. So both my like my mother's side is like they're like from the north. They like have the northern accent. My dad's side's from the south, so I have a mishmash like.
So it's like
Which actually worked out because when I was over there, they'd be like, oh, he must be from the north or something. When I got good enough to where I'm not just an American, they would just be like, oh, he's from the north. And when I was in the north, they'd be like, oh, he's from the
See,
south.
I'm trying to understand it through like Northern American accents versus Southern, like a Boston versus
Yeah,
Mississippi.
Think about, but have to be like the thickest Boston like accent you ever heard, where you're like, what, huh? Can you repeat that?
Yeah.
To like,
Creole down in the swamp.
yeah,
that's
yeah.
a good way to put
Backwood
it.
down there, I'm gonna tell you now. And then some guy being like, "Why I told you?" No way, I'm trying to do Boston. I can't even do Boston.
Boston, New York. Can you do New York? That's
I could do New York.
Yeah.
But all right, a real thick New York accent. Like,
Yeah.
You gotta go south. The Creole's probably the good way to
Creole.
do it.
Yeah.
That's like Egyptians.
Egyptians, yeah.
But let me ask you.
They're
I like.
the Creole.
Oh,
yeah.
Like what the
Yeah.
fuck
At
is
the
this
Nile
thing?
Like
swamp.
shit. So
Little bit
I
of-
like culturally food, like going traveling, trying different foods.
Yeah.
What's like the classic or traditional meals that you would
What's
eat back
the
home?
big dish?
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty popular, I guess, like the whole injera thing.
Injera,
yeah,
yeah,
big
yeah.
brown
Bread,
bread, and
yeah.
then just like I guess I'm trying to think of the difference between like Ethiopian and Eritrean food. It's really the
About the
same.
same,
The,
okay.
the only difference is like Ethiopian food tends to be a little bit more rare.
Mm.
Where like Eritreans, I guess, were more of a well done, medium well type of
okay,
crab,
yeah.
so
Oh,
that
that's
kind of thing.
interesting. Wow.
So you just end up like just big fresh. So it'll be like pretty classical to like Arabic food, like
Yeah.
rice, sauce, meat, mixed with
Okay.
sauce, lamb, goat, stuff
So
like
I
that.
feast with a lot of Ethiopians in
Yeah.
my time, and a lot of them are more vegetable based
Yeah.
versus meat. Is that the same?
Yeah,
Or- okay.
I
yeah.
mean a lot more. Yeah, a little more, I guess, because you kind of encapsulate it with like the food and stuff like that.
Okay,
So
it's more just a feature, not like, or it's just.
it's usually because it's always like a mixture of food. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
it's
I
a
feel
bunch-
like
yeah.
I feel like American stuff kind of separates it. Like if you ever look at a plate, it's like rice here, salad there, meat there.
Yeah.
Whereas like I guess that whole part of the world, you kind of just mush it
Just
all
take
together.
it and just eat it.
It's
Yeah,
one
and that's
plate.
what that's
Yeah.
We all
that's the way to
eat
eat.
from
yeah.
the one plate. You know
Oh
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
the big
Yeah,
ass plate. Yeah,
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 yeah.
for sure. Yeah,
A lot of so a lot of times it's gonna end up mushing together. you know?
exactly. Yeah.
So I end up eating it with with your hands and stuff. So
Oh,
that's
yeah,
pretty
for sure,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
There was this. I mean, Silver Spring. There was a few Ethiopian restaurants. I've ate at a lot. I forgot the name of them. It's named after a mountain in the region. Of,
Yeah.
is it? Do you know? There's like a famous mountain. Is it in Ethiopia?
Well, if it's in Ethiopia, I'd have
Oh,
no
you're
idea.
like, nah, I'm not fucking
That's
with
not-
them.
that's not-
Yeah,
Like,
that's not-
I'm out of here.
Yeah,
Like,
like, shit. Say Ethiopia one more time.
He's like, bro, come on, son.
Yeah, like, it's like,
not
fuck
us,
them.
man.
I know.
We
I
fought. Blood
No,
has
I
been
know.
spilled.
I'm just saying, like, because we said the similarities with the food, so I'm
Yeah.
just trying to.
Yeah,
draw
because
that
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
culturally it's probably pretty similar to this.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's like,
No, try to act like we're just like like it's a difference between like China and the United States. No, it's pretty similar. Like clothing, like customs.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I guess always the funny shit about Africa. It's always tribalism shit.
It is, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Very much so. I get personally offended if like
Bro,
people
you
tell me
know-
I'm a different tribe.
You remember
I don't know why.
the Africa test in like middle school or whatever,
Yeah.
where you have to put all the countries
Yeah.
and color on a different color. I got mine completely right because I'm like, come on, man, I'm African. The one I got wrong, Morocco.
Oh, shit.
That's
And
funny.
you know
as shit.
why? So Morocco and Western Sahara,
Yeah.
the country to the south of them,
Yeah.
it's like Morocco like annexed Western Sahara. And so my dad's like, no, that's part of Morocco. So culturally for him, he's like, that's what do you mean?
Yeah.
That's not even a problem. Meanwhile, they're also mad about Spain having like land in Morocco too. So I'm like, that's bullshit. But then he can't see the like thing in that. So I got that wrong. My dad's like, or the teacher was like, yeah, no, that's a different country. I'm like, what? I like took it to my dad, and he was like, they don't know what they're talking about.
Did he go to the school and like try to get you that 100%? Like the
No,
okay.
what?
Well, sometimes
I eat L's like.
Yeah, that's never happened.
Yeah.
Like,
Excuse me, but the teacher. First of all, my dad was friends with all the teachers because he was a bus driver.
fact. Yeah.
That's funny as hell.
So they all knew Mr. Fickery.
Yeah.
I couldn't
Get away
It
with
actually,
shit.
it actually kept me out of trouble, like big trouble. You know, I was
Yeah.
still.
You knew how much trouble to get into before jumping that line
Dude,
again.
that's
Really
funny
fun.
as hell.
Yeah.
Well, you never got like a lot of trouble in school? and
I
shit?
did, but like what I'm saying is like to the point where it was suspension or something
Yeah.
like that. Because they would be like when I was being mischievous and getting in like little trouble,
Yeah.
just throwing shit or talking too much or
Yeah.
pranks or whatever, little stupid shit that we all do like when we're young. You know, they could nip it in the bud immediately.
Yeah.
Day of.
Yeah.
At the end of the school day, I'm gonna go outside and talk to your dad.
He's like right
He's right
there.
there.
Yeah, no.
So
Yeah,
that
no
would
time to
happen.
think of your story or your excuse.
No,
Yeah,
they would
yeah.
beat me to the bus.
Damn.
So
Oh,
I
you see-
could. You know what I'm
okay.
saying?
No, because I'm thinking about it in terms of this, that it would be a lot less of a punishment from your pops because, like, whenever I got in trouble, he'd have to come from work all the way to school, and then
Oh,
that
the
would just
inconvenience.
the inconvenience was such a like a foot in my ass because of that shit. So it was like.
But his dad's got the
What you talking
embarrassment
about?
factor.
He's
of being-
embarrassed in front of everybody.
Oh, that's
he
right.
sees me,
Yeah.
drives me home, has to drive back to the lot, drop his bus off, grab his car,
And
come
you're in
back
the bus
home,
the whole time.
and I'm at home with my mom. Like,
Okay, I didn't see it that way. Fuck.
yeah, bro, it was, son.
So you got like fucking just rock bottom.
So it was like
fucking-
twice. I almost got hit twice. You know what I'm saying? Like I got the awkwardness, or he was like, if it was real bad, he'd be like, sit up here.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to the back of the bus to sit with my friends today.
that's
So I'm
tough,
there.
man.
You know what I mean? I do the bit where I'm like, all the nerds are like talking to my dad. Mr. Ficker, do you like Harry Potter? I really love Harry Potter, whatever, right? And my dad's, you know what I'm saying? My dad's just like, oh yes, he's very
like
nice and
happy,
friendly.
yeah.
And I'm like, I'll like try to say, he's like, be quiet, you know, just his eyes.
Oh yeah, in the big mirror, you
Yeah,
can just
the
see
big
him
mirror.
giving you the
Yep.
stare down.
Oh, dude, that must fucking suck. Then,
Bro,
yeah.
it's tough. Yeah,
Damn.
but I mean, some kids when we would get in trouble, we would go
Yeah.
too far. So I knew it kept me accountable. Where it was just like I was just silly and goofy or whatever. Like,
That's a good
but I
point.
knew I couldn't like, you know, go when I saw people like literally like kicking other kids in the face or whatever,
Yeah.
or like, you know, actually breaking glass with like a chair or something. I'm like, yeah, nah, dog. I'm out.
I'm gonna sit this out.
No, no.
I'm a spectator.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, man. I never even thought of it that way. That it's more of a punishment for you.
Yeah.
Actually, now that I think about it, like whenever parents make a whole fucking big deal about them coming from work to like there, why? It's a built-in excuse to leave work.
Exactly.
You know,
dude.
oh wait,
You know, there's
Well,
part
if
of
it's
them.
fucking up money, if it's fucking up their
Okay,
money,
yeah, that's a
then
good point.
That
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
be-
trying to act like
The
my
money
dad was
thing
on
for
salary.
sure.
He
Yeah.
was hourly. Yeah, so
So you might be cutting
yeah.
it
That's all it is.
You sound like you got in a lot of trouble back in the day. Like,
Yeah, like I mean, yeah, no, it did quite a lot. Like I'm trying to think of.
were you like the class clown? Were you the like what was your like niche?
Did you hit a point? Actually, here's the question. Did
Okay.
you hit a point where, like, instead of being the target of, you know, all the dudes in DC, the tough guys and stuff, you
Oh, it was no.
started getting respect and like, oh, Latif's cool, he's funny. How'd you get your first group of friends?
In DC, no, in DC was a whole different thing because I didn't go to school with them. I went to like a whole
Oh,
private school in
right.
Virginia.
That's right.
right,
So
right,
like
right.
the dudes, because like the dudes in DC, they'll like the first year or so, then it was about. But after that, like you live
You
next.
live
to 'em.
there, dude.
Yeah, we're
yeah.
neighbors. So at a certain point in time, you realize that it's probably a better idea to be cool with your neighbors and not, you know.
Yeah, of
so
course,
like
of
they're
course.
like, all right, bet. But no, like that was the private school was full of like rich kids from like McLean and shit.
Oh,
so, yeah,
you were the
yeah.
bully.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
were coming from the hood and being
Yeah,
like,
right,
hey, man,
yeah.
shut up.
Now you know. So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, here I get
Oh,
like,
astaghfirullah. Oh, no. Shut
Yeah,
up.
exactly,
Shut up,
like-
cornball.
like I like it was like it's like and like if my two older brothers went to the same school and shit like that, and like I'd get in trouble like one time, like I was like cutting up, like I was a class clown and stuff, and
Oh.
then like the teacher took my desk from like the lines of desk and like put it next to where like the board is and everything.
Oh, it's kind of like that isolation.
Yeah.
That's that. Yeah, that's
So,
yeah.
so like he had like an equation on the board. Oh my god, it's gonna make me feel like such an asshole. But like he had an equation on his board, and like this kid came up to like do it, and I pants him.
Oh,
Oh,
in
shit.
class.
Oh, I love
And
pants.
then he's like, "What the fuck are you?" Well,
Did you get underwear too?
No, it was just his
Oh,
underwear.
all right,
And-
all right.
But then
It's
like,
still good.
so
funny.
like
From
he's like,
solitary confinement, you did that. 'cause
yeah,
you-
but like
It's a
he
great
was,
bit.
So he like starts wilding out, getting mad at me for obvious reasons, and I deny it. I'm like, I didn't do it, and I rode that excuse all the way to like the vice principal's house. I didn't do it. I was like, and then they were like, "What the fuck are you talking about? You were the only one there that said to me." I'm like, I don't know. Maybe his like pants were loose and his belt was on, but I didn't fucking do it. And I shit you not, somehow it worked.
Oh,
Wow.
my God.
And it worked, and then like we ended up going to like the principal. He was like, "Oh, don't do it again," blah blah whatever. And I'm like, "Holy fuck, I got away
Wow.
with this."
The power of denial, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just denied it the
Hold
whole
on
way
to that
through.
shit.
Yeah,
But then
yeah.
the fucked up thing that happened was my mom came to school because like my older brother, like he had like medication and stuff that he forgot at home. So she drove from like in her break to school to go drop it off, and she's like walking to the office, and my teacher saw her. And he was like, "Oh, so I bet they called you in because of what's called Latif."
Yeah.
And she was like, "The fuck are you talking about?" Then he
Oh.
told her the whole story.
Damn.
So
I
karma
know.
got you at the
Yeah.
end.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
That's crazy.
Oh, I got so much fucking trouble. God damn, yeah.
No, karma is undefeated, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like you thought it let you off the hook. You're like, yeah, and then by just
miracle.
serendipity,
Yeah.
you got caught.
I was hyped for like 2 hours. I'm like, oh, I got away with it. Like,
Yeah,
The
yeah.
dumbass
Oh,
teacher that had
shit.
to be wrong and be like, "Oh, I bet you're here for Latif."
Yeah. Goddamn, I know. It still
Sold
it
you
still
out.
fucking sucks, man. Now I'm thinking about it. That was a terrible day.
Yeah, man.
Bam. Yeah. But
Yeah.
like not. I mean, like a few like occasions, like here and there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But not that like, cause you asked me the question, I think about. I'm like, oh man, I was a little shit in school. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
now that I think
yeah.
about it. Yeah.
And that's what makes the days go by, man. That's what's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where are we at? What are we at?
Well, probably like 40. We're like 40 minutes in.
40 minutes. We could do a
Yeah.
little more time. And so we end our podcast the same way. We ask every guest the same set of questions.
Yeah.
But we can before we get to that, why don't we ask? All right. So you said you were 16 when you moved to LA,
Yeah. Well, 17.
or 17.
Yeah.
So did you graduate high school?
Yeah.
So you graduated high school. Bam, straight over there.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
What was? Damn, that must have been so lit
Right?
at that age,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
Where in LA?
At first, the west side of LA. So that's even a whole other thing. This was like Venice Beach. Like,
Oh
like, yeah.
my
Yeah.
god!
And like the
Damn.
only thing I was doing was like training for
So
fighting.
that's like the perfect.
And then I
spot,
ended up
yeah.
getting it because after a little while I'm like I gotta make some kind of money. Like my brother was letting me crash at his place for free and
Right,
shit.
right, right.
But like after a while, I'm
yeah,
like,
you
I
got to
need
put
like,
food on the table.
Yeah, so
and
I ended up
help
just
with-
working like the front desk of like the gym that I was training at, and that was essentially like
yeah.
my life throughout like the later teens to like the early 20s to like mid 20s, I guess, something like that.
How old are you now?
I'm 30 now.
You're 30 now.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, man. That's. I mean, but the idea
Oh,
of
bro.
that is got to be so lit.
Like,
Just like every day, like
The-
oh, I'm doing this from shitty cold ass DC.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean?
Beautiful Venice Beach.
It's a beautiful
yeah.
Venice
Yeah,
Beach.
LA was a whole trip and a half, man. That's a whole other fucking episode of the amount of insane
Well,
things that
just
happen.
get into a couple. You know what I'm saying? Like what? All right, like here you are, this kid. You're moving. You living with your brother. How?
Yeah.
What are you doing socially? How are you meeting people and like, or who are? I'm sure you have a good group of LA friends. Like who do?
It was.
How'd
I
you
mean,
meet those people?
essentially, like the only career I really have ever, the only job I've ever had that like paid me in anything in life has all been fight related, except
Yeah.
for like those like night. Well, I guess now like a couple of nights where I'll do like the lifting, but it doesn't really it's like
That's just like
that's like
yeah.
Bill like
Yeah.
Barry Reid
It's
money
not
kind
a
of thing.
career by any
But,
means,
like,
or job.
I've never like done anything like in terms of paying that wasn't like fight related. You know, it's
so all
only
your peoples were fight people.
that's all the people.
Yeah.
That's why it's like I guess relating to this week about like because that's all I've ever like hung out with. It's either other fighters, amateur fighters, other trainers, or like students and stuff that they can hold their own and stuff like that.
right.
And then like I've dealt with it like this whole entire time, and then now I guess like not fighting for the past few years and stuff, and like comedy's kind of taken like more of of my life and stuff. Like I'll go and then I'll go to like these two like the open mics this week and stuff like that, and I'll see people fighting, and like the first thing I thought in my head, cause like I was there and I look up, I'm like, oh wow, people don't know how to fight. Like I never like the concept of it has never like came into
You've been
my
so
head.
plugged in.
Yeah.
So whatever.
So like, and then I saw it and I was like, oh fuck, people like really like can't scrap for shit. And then I didn't realize the concept of it. So it's kind of funny now dealing with like other, more in the, the comedy kind of scene and stuff
Right,
like that,
right.
and seeing that and realizing like, oh, this is a whole other fucking thing. It's like we were talking about with the whole crowd work and stuff like that. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a whole other thing too.
Yeah.
You've got to be so much more engaged with the crowd in
Right.
stand up than at fighting. I couldn't care less what the audience is doing. Like
there
they-
didn't need to be an audience.
yeah, for
We know
real.
that from Fight Island.
Yeah,
Right?
like
for-
don't get me wrong. Like it's kind of cool to feel like the crowd, like the noise and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But that's in a broad sense. Individually, I could you could be killing murdering somebody. And I wouldn't even be paying attention. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right,
So it's kind of one of those things. So you go from that where I got to worry about like getting my head like knocked off to now this person sitting in the front row. I've
Texting.
I've actually got to care.
The stakes are a lot.
Oh
lot
man!
less.
So it's kind of been a weird like battle of like trying to figure that part out of like doing stand up, because like I tried like before, and there'd be times where, you know, people are not like paying attention and stuff like that. They'd be like looking at their phone, and then like I'd get like close and like tell them a joke, and they'd look up, and then they'd look back at their phone. Like I'm
Yeah,
like,
man. Yeah,
there's
We
gotta
know that pain. Yeah.
yeah, so you gotta have like some kind of audience interaction. So I'm trying to work that out, man. We'll see how it works.
It's just it's
Let me
reps in time, man.
I want to ask you. So when you fought, I'm sure, like you said, you met a lot of your network of people
Yeah.
were your fellow fighters,
Yeah.
trainers, and I know comedy has their own niche scene.
Yeah.
Compare the two, like your comedy crew of people versus your fighting crew. What's similar? What's crazy?
That-
You got nothing going on. Who you calling?
Oh, between the two?
Yeah.
I no, because there's people in the comedy scene that I would end up calling. There's people in the fighting scene I end up calling. There's not
So
not
it's
one
not
preference
like-
over the
yeah.
other. It just depends on what I feel like doing. Cause
Right.
okay, like all right, here I'll say it.
Give us
this
some
one.
broad generality.
Yeah, that's
what we
what
like.
I'm about to do.
I
right
like
now.
painting with a broad brush.
Oh, yeah, this is gonna be the broadest of brushes.
Hell
Let's
yeah,
just
dog.
generalize the fuck out of
Yes,
everybody.
yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Like, okay, when it comes to
Oh,
like, because
my bad.
fighting is one of those like occupations in life where like you don't really necessarily have to like try to be a Billy badass about it. It's like one of
Yeah.
those things where it's like instantaneously people are like, okay, you know, like one
Oh,
of
right.
those
It's
things.
built into it.
Yeah, it's built into
Yeah.
it, that kind of deal. So there isn't really a necessity to act like a tough person, because people just be like,
trained, you have your match, and then
yeah,
just
like
call it
so,
a day.
like you know what I mean. Like I'm
Yeah.
hanging out like at like a party after the fight and stuff like that. Like no one's gonna fight. Like you know, he just fought someone like an hour. Like what am I
Right,
gonna do?
right,
Start
right.
punching this
Yeah.
guy? Like even if I can fuck him up, it's not gonna be easy. You know, like
Right.
at the end of the day. So
It's not
like,
gonna be-
oh, no, that's
his
what
head
I-
movements have really improved in the last month. Like this guy.
so like you know, so it's just one of those things where you already have that kind of like scarlet lettery kind of thing of where people don't necessarily like fucking with you a lot. So it makes you a lot more vulnerable. So you can kind of like, because if you end up hanging out with most fighters, they're like dorks, you know, like.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? They're really like reserved. They'll, you know, they'll like odd things, like you know, it's because it really isn't necessarily a reason to act like a tough guy, because
Oh,
like
I see.
I'm
So
a pro.
they're
I'm a
like-
pro fighter. Fuck off. Like what
Yeah,
more?
yeah.
What more can I tell you to
Right,
tell you
right.
not to fuck with me? You know.
Right.
So so they're really chill, and there's like I mean, other than like a few instances, and I mean a few instances, I haven't really seen a lot of like fighting, like, you know, like arguments or like fights between like fighters and stuff like that, because at the end of the day you're punching each other in the face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, dog.
what
I'm not trying to go
like-
to work right now. I'm
Yeah.
off.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are we gonna have beef? Like, we're gonna settle it in like 10 minutes from now. We're gonna
Right,
end up
right.
hitting each other. So
Yeah.
it really isn't necessarily. So it's such a nice, chill like environment, like
Oh,
for an
yeah.
overwhelming majority of my life. Except like, you know, it's like I said, except for a few times, human nature. Obviously, it's not. But so there's like this really reserved vibe because everyone's like, you know, we're here to fuck each other up, so we know what it
no
is.
ego.
No
just-
ego
yeah, we're just-
whatsoever.
yeah, we're here to train and fight.
Okay, so comedy is like it's the okay. This is what I realized. It's the complete opposite.
It's
Yeah.
dorks that don't know how to fight.
Yeah, so
But
it's
need
it's
to
what-
show them. Yeah.
well, because it's always based in the context of like laughter. Like it's
Yeah.
funny. I'm supposed to be funny, so it's not really the most like intimidating profession in the world. And what ends up happening is like you can't be vulnerable. You can't be like, because I always get that all the time. Like, oh man, you're so nice and stuff like that. It's like, well, yeah. Like I don't have to sit there and, you know, wear a tap out T-shirt and act like it's, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
what the
yeah.
fuck is the point of that? But like, so for comedians, because initially your career is like, you know, you're a jester, you got to make jokes and stuff like
Right,
that.
right.
They like. I'm not saying everybody, obviously. We're not okay. We are probably painting a broad brush right
Yeah,
now,
we are.
but
Let's-
like,
let's do it.
it's one of those things where they all, a lot of them, especially like, you know, obviously the male comics tend to act like, you know, like, yeah, I'm tough and like all that kind of shit because of that aspect. You know what I mean?
Oh wow.
So I get that a lot. So when I first started, I'd like some off-putting comments were said to me, and like I didn't really know how to. It's like I didn't fight anybody, anything like that.
right, right.
But it was one of those things where like it was said to me, and I have to look at you like, wait, am I supposed to like fuck you up? Like that kind of like I
Yeah.
didn't know what to like
Yeah.
make of it, and so that was kind of like a weird balance after a while. But like I mean, you don't want to have that reputation, obviously,
course,
you
of
know.
course,
Like it'd be who's coming to like Feiruz? It was like, oh, the host is like fucking up comics, you know. Like it'd be a bad thing. So I try to be as like non-combative or confrontational as much as I possibly
Yeah,
can.
for sure.
It kind of makes life a lot easier that way.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
dude, yeah.
But that shit takes away from the value of what you're trying to do,
Yeah.
running your show. So nah.
Yeah, so it's always it's funny, man. Especially like we were talking about with this week of seeing like the fights that were going on and everything. I'm like, oh wow, you know.
Yeah.
Because I guess apparently like both nights, because there was another one with like shouting match and stuff.
Let's
and
not name names or drop.
no,
details.
I'm not. I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah.
going broad here. But like,
Fun
there's
stuff.
such broad brushes. But like, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
apparently it like was stemmed from something that happened previous. And like I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh fuck, if they just like punch each other, you
Yeah,
know, that
be
kind
over
of thing,
with, yeah,
because it
for
wouldn't be so like
Yeah,
know,
just
like
get it out.
you get it out
Yeah.
in some kind of shape, way, or form. So
Well, the
It-
problem, comics, everyone, you know, there's not right now out here many places to go. So it's like
Yeah.
we're seeing the same faces, you know,
Yeah.
all the time.
Right.
Pre-COVID, you could, you know, not go to a spot for months just because there's other options. you
Okay.
know.
Let me ask y'all this: it's right now, as of today, what's a good number of mics to hit up on a weekly basis? I'm talking about like right now in 2021.
Like what it's
No,
like
no, just like
feasible.
the number. Like, yeah, what's feasible? What's like, hey, you're doing decent amount
I
of
mean, if you're
mics
just
a week.
looking at mics, probably like 5
Yeah.
or 6.
No, there's
could
not
do
even. It's
look,
hard. It's tough.
If
Yeah,
you're committed to grind and drive
yeah.
each
If you're
day.
committed and stuff, but
Yeah.
he's just saying what you're doing
Like a good
fine
number.
if
Oh,
you're
right
hitting.
there.
Oh, I mean, 3 to 4.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
3 to
where
4.
it's at.
Yeah,
That's where it's
Yeah.
at here.
just so that
If
way
you're doing less than, if
staying
you're doing
loose.
less than 3, if
Yeah.
you're doing 2 mics in a week, like you're going backwards.
Yeah. Well,
You
no,
know what I'm
because
saying?
I was like talking to somebody, and I was like, oh yeah, I've hit like 4 this week,
Yeah.
and then he was like, I'm doing like 6. I was like, fuck, am I like doing enough in life? Because I just thought for the sake of COVID and everything like that it's not really easy to hit up like a lot of mics.
No,
in
it's
the
not.
Oh, yeah,
area.
no,
it's
it's-
not.
yeah.
And you're doing. And by the way, like, do as many as you can possibly
Yeah.
do. Ideally, that's what you want. Is the
Yeah.
most you can do. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like they're incredibly spread out, like to the point where it's like
Yeah.
you have to factor in gas money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're driving an hour at least to like
Yeah.
get to some of them, and sometimes way more, whatever.
Yeah.
They're incredibly spread out. You're seeing the same group of people, and a lot of times no audience. So it's like you guys are I'm just running my same set in front of you. But if that's the case, then you have to like think of what to do in that situation. Like, all right, what are you gonna get out of it towards your goal? Like, are you gonna get any better? Da-da-da. So basically, what I'm saying is like, don't look at it like what should I be hitting
Yeah.
based off of what other people are saying.
Yeah.
It should be like,
Look
how
at
do I
yeah.
feel about my material?
Yeah, like how you start the week, how you end the week. Do you
Yeah.
feel happy with the progression that you made on
Yeah.
whatever you're working
Are
on?
you writing enough yourself?
Yeah.
You know, for your own thing.
Yeah.
Don't base it off what other people are doing. But you can be honest with yourself as long as you're like, if you have self awareness to be like, yeah, no, I'm not.
But you
I'm not ready. I
also-
should be supposed to be
You
ready.
running your mic on Monday is great in the sense of you can always try something else. Like, you know, and then something sticks, work on it later in the
Yeah.
week. So,
Hell
I mean,
yeah, dude.
you just have like,
You built
I-
a great mic.
Oh,
And
thank
the
you,
fact
man.
that you're hosting it, you know what I'm saying? That's why you've gotten so much better in that, like,
Yeah.
in a year, you know, because you're probably doing way more than 5 minutes cumulative time.
It's
Well, I
true.
mean, you are because you're doing your 5 minutes up front, and then
Yeah.
you know even if it's just little jokes, and
so-
you're doing a good job of keeping the show moving and
Yeah.
feeling the energy of the crowd or whatever. But still, all that is like becomes this thing where you
Yeah.
start to learn like subconscious or unconsciously.
Yeah.
you
start
start to learn
like,
pick up shit that
yeah. feeling the crowd, feeling
like
energy.
what works and what doesn't.
Oh yeah, if that comic had a good set just now, or if I sit here and try to tell a joke that might bomb
Yeah.
off of his set, I might destroy the energy. So let me just bring up the next guy. Like I could tell you're learning all that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, that's always say it. So the reason why I end up, it's a really big reason why I end up starting the mic, because, everything I ever done, like, in terms of stand-up has all been, like, premeditated, like, written down, like, the whole entire act.
Right.
And Feyruz is just crowd work. That's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
much
for
all I
sure.
do. So I try, as much as I can, and then I try to keep it moving as much as possible,
But
because,
that's perfect because you have a spot where it's okay to fail. Like, it doesn't work. It's all
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
because you're not the star of the show. It's your comic. So,
yeah.
you want to set the energy, read the room, which is a skill that you pick up
It's true.
subconsciously or unconsciously.
Well, man, I kind of like just doing mics for this like past year and change. It's like, it seems like, especially to be like a decent host, it's a lot better for like my light to be dimmed and your guy, you know, that you guys are the mainstay.
Yeah.
You know, so I always say it. It's like if people leave the show and saying that like the host was the best part of that show,
Then
maybe not a
for
really
sure.
good show.
Right.
So, you know, I kind of want to just keep that thing moving. And then I guess, you know, it's like the past few weeks, like more comics have been showing up and stuff like that.
Oh, for
So
sure, yeah.
3
And you get
minutes,
people
yeah.
from all over that have, for sure.
Yeah, like 3 minutes of just doing like crowd work. Hey, how's it going? Y'all look
Yeah.
good. You know, that kind of deal. And I can tell it's kind of getting a little better at it and stuff like that,
for
as
sure.
opposed to just doing
The
what I first
question is
done.
not the comic showing up. Is like you actually have an audience,
Yeah.
and a lot of them are coming back to smoke hookah and listen to comedy.
Yeah,
Like, You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? It's like
It's true.
It's hard to get a spot that filled up on a Monday night anywhere.
Bro.
You know, comedy aside, like
Yeah.
you know, it seems like it's good for business, and comics are getting a good crowd to work with. So
That's true. It's funny too because we were joking about it. I feel like it's slowly becoming like a kind of like a training or like a practice ground for like white comics to get good in like black kind of thing. Because like I was like Anwar too, like it's like all these people and like Michael Scott and like Pilata, because they come in the first time and it's like and then as time progresses, like the last time you were there, like you got laughs and shit, when you're like you were good as hell, and I'm like, oh fuck, like he's getting better at performing like quote unquote like black rooms kind of thing, you know?
There's a distinct difference. Though.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
yeah, for sure.
So it's
There
funny.
is that, for sure. Yeah, and that's great that like you have a spot that provides that. For,
Yeah.
Mike Pilata, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, but, like,
and
it's-
that kind of white guy.
Because
where
I
it's like-
noticed, like, I'm like, oh, fuck, these guys are getting better with these little, like, you know, and, like, Africans and stuff like that comedy
yeah,
room. I was, like,
man.
working out. So that's really cool as hell. So, you know, it's nice that the room is progressing and everything like that. And the venue's, like, been really, like, lenient on a
That's
lot of
awesome.
things. Because
Yeah, dude.
we have not ever started on time or finished on time,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
ever. So, you know, they're really cool about that stuff.
Well, good
so.
thing that they're colored, so they know they're on that CPT too. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
exactly.
Well, since we're talking about it, now's a great time to plug it. Farouz Lounge every Monday.
Beirut's Lounge,
yeah.
Falls Church, Virginia.
Sign up is 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
4:30.
No,
No, okay, no.
in the morning.
Yeah.
You gotta stay there.
Sunday. No. But no, Monday is it? 5:30 is the sign up.
Yeah,
And then 6 is the
6 to 8
okay.
is like the actual show itself. So I should probably start saying it more that way to make that actual time.
5:30 sign up, 6 o'clock,
Yeah, I
6
think
o'clock
the
show
Flyers
start.
times are off. When I check.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. I'd double check it if I were you, but
I probably will.
I'll make sure I get my ass there on time. You know.
Yeah, no, thank you. Well, shit, man, thank you for
yeah.
coming down
No, it's
there.
a good time, man. It's a good spot.
Yeah, it's getting there now, and then you know got a DJ there, so that's
Yeah,
always fun.
for sure.
And it's getting there, man. Like I feel like you know just doing it the way I've been doing it is kind of like helping out. You know, not being a total asshole of a host kind of helps out a lot.
No, for
you know?
sure. The vibes. Did you ever go to Library Tavern in DC?
Yeah.
I get because that's also a hookah spot, but
Yeah.
just like that chill out lounge feel. Everyone's
Yeah.
just kicking back, having a good time.
Yeah.
Were we talking about it like about like that? Because that was one of my favorite places. to,
Library.
like-
Yeah, that was
library.
Johnny Quest. That was
Yeah.
like that's our
Love him,
guy.
man.
Yeah.
I love Johnny. dude.
Yeah.
It was my favorite thing, like the crowd. I really liked the crowd at Library
Yeah.
Tavern because it was one of those like it was a nice little melting pot of people and stuff like that. You know,
Yeah.
you had like a dice game going on one
Yeah.
side and like a chess match going on
Yeah.
the other. Like it was like you know, it's
Yeah.
a solid like mix of people.
Down in the basement.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
good feel to
Black
it.
people, white people.
Yeah, it was
plenty of people our skin color. You know what I'm
exactly.
saying, in the
So
middle.
like,
All
so
three
like
of us are different.
Exactly,
Different
yeah.
types of beige.
just
Yes.
United
And they
Colors
had
of
great food,
Benetton.
too.
Yeah,
What would you suggest? Because like I said, I'm gonna get food this Monday at Farouz. What do you
Oh
recommend?
fuck me, man! You had to put me on the spot like that. It's they've got like paninis that are really good. 'Cause
Okay.
that's what I end up getting.
Yeah,
a
I'm gonna
lot.
keep it like something like that would be good.
That's
you
pretty.
know?
I mean, if you like the Ethiopian food, knock yourself out because that shit's pretty good too.
Yeah, but you know, I like the full feel with my hands. I want to use my hands, and I want to be
Use
touching your
your hands?
microphone, and then
You
know, your DJ's
oh yeah,
gonna be-
sorry.
yeah, yeah.
No. You're right. Gloves,
yeah,
hazmat
it's
suits.
COVID, yeah. But I,
Bro, like no, I'm just laughing. Okay, I'll tell you a story about like my first date. That shit was funny.
Oh,
Like,
no.
Okay, because like
off of that that. All right, keep
Yeah,
going.
well, no, because I asked I was like super young. It was like when I was like in 6th grade or something like that, and I asked this girl out, and we went to like PF Chang's for like my first date ever, and like so the food, fuck you. So like the food comes out, and like it's there, and I'm like, I'm really new to America, so I was like, all right, bet, time to eat with my hands. So like, I started eating with my hands, and yeah, and like I'm eating and I'm hungry, so I'm like, like eating, and then like I look up. The look on her face of like just utter disgust. Yeah, just like this utter disgust at me. I will never forget as long as I live. She looked at me
He's
like,
already done.
Yeah.
He's hitting the sauce. From
Yeah,
the
right.
side.
Yeah,
No, we
like, were
love
you-
the sauce, bro. Hit
Were
that
you
joint.
there? Like, that's exactly what
No,
happened.
I'm just from that part. You know what I'm saying?
Just, bro, that look she just looked like I was an animal.
Oh my God,
it was
bro.
so weird. I was like, oh shit, we were not gonna have a second date. This will never end.
You
We
know
did it.
It's so funny because Moroccans, we do it with bread and stuff. You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah.
all just like we like. But I remember these two kids. Like I invited them over,
Yeah.
and my mom already knew like, oh, they're not ready for this. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So she had the big plate for our family, and then she set them like 2 plates and like scoop from the big bowl, from the big plate and set it for them and gave them like spoons or whatever, so they could eat. But so we just look at them and just like, man, we're just going in, dog, and they're just like eating like quiet. And my like friends, my white friends or whatever, they're like, I'm like, yeah,
So funny.
dog, you in my house.
Prison rules.
Yeah, prison rule. I'm making eye contact, like, like
Dude, that's
I love,
funny.
dude. I love it.
That is cool though. I always like doing that, like breaking bread with like other like cultures. It's one of the
Yeah.
best ways to get
I'm
acclimated to
telling
each
you,
other.
man. Yeah,
First
and
time I
it
ate
was-
with my hands, my friend from Bangladesh
Yeah.
family had me
Yeah.
over. He's like, "This is the only way you're gonna eat it." I said, "That's fine with me."
Let's do
It
it.
then he
tastes
said,
better,
like,
man.
The way to
I
scoop
swear.
it. Yeah, no, for
Yeah.
sure. It's like
I swear,
getting down
rub
and
your
dirty
fingers.
with the food, man.
Dude,
Yeah.
it's a good way to do it. I mean,
But there's
hell,
a skill to it too. Like,
Oh, to get the food.
yeah,
Yeah.
only 3 fingers are
Yeah.
supposed to be
Is
dirty.
it in your thumb, right?
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
definitely
that's what I
the-
meant.
yeah.
Two
Like the
fingers
scoop,
in it.
right?
You
It's like
could
the-
use, but see, we use bread. Like we
yeah.
don't probably do it the same as them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Oh.
yeah, no, because most. I
But
mean,
y'all
we
use
bread,
injera,
yeah.
like so. Yeah,
Like,
we're
yeah,
probably
it's-
more similar.
It's called
Yeah,
injera.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now there's a thinner kind and a thicker. Like, is yours more?
Yeah, there's different like levels to it.
Ours
Different
is like
shit.
thick,
Yeah.
thick,
Yeah.
thick.
Okay, same
Ours-
with yours.
I mean, there's like different. Yeah, I mean, every once in a while we use the thick one, but like no, the main one is that thin, like
Okay.
yeasty looking
Yeah.
one. like-
Okay. That's the one
Yeah.
I've had the most, but I've had like the thicker kind
Yeah.
too. But yeah,
I still haven't found a good like Moroccan restaurant in the DMV, but I haven't ventured.
there's
out.
one in Have you
It's
tried the one in
hard.
Ketlin's?
No.
Where's
one-
the Ketlins?
It's like Gaithersburg, but they're too classy to be called
Yeah.
Gaithersburg, so they gave a different name. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the gentrified Gaithersburg.
Right,
which,
right.
Yeah,
Dude,
They
that's
just
funny.
Yeah.
block off of the area.
yeah exactly.
That's always a funny thing about this, like this whole DMV area. There's like all this shit going on in like that whole Gaithersburg area that I have no idea about. But it's not like it's like 2 hours away. It's like right around the fucking corner.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sort
no.
of, but like
Montgomery County is interesting, but yeah, they do. I went there once. I can't remember what I had. It was a lamb dish, but it was forgot the name of the place. Right by the movie theaters in the Ketlins.
Maybe it's like this
Yeah.
for you, but whenever I go to like a place of like my national origin,
Of
I'm
course.
I'm the harshest
Oh, I'm
critic,
sure.
bro.
See, yeah,
Like,
I've
oh, word. We
that
just
was
gonna-
my only time
this is
having
what we
Moroccan
do?
food, so of
Yeah,
course
yeah.
it was good.
That's,
you know,
that's like your
Yeah.
thing,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
You're-
bro.
that's your intro to the place.
I'm
but
not
I'm
even, like I'm such a conceited dick. Like as soon as they
Yeah.
walk in, I'm just like before they even say a word, I'm just like Injera, Zigny, like it's
yeah,
just, like,
yeah, nah, man. Hey, this ain't. We don't do this. This is a lie. Don't
Yeah.
lie to these people. You know what I'm saying? Like, and really, I'm
kinda
talking
true.
about like, oh, we serve chicken on couscous. It's lamb. It's Friday. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah,
Oh.
dog, come on, yeah. Like,
great.
yes, we do
The
do that one.
harshest
But I'll just be
judge.
so, because you had your parents food growing up the whole time. It's like,
Yeah.
I want people to enjoy what I had, but.
Yeah, that's true. But then that's like cooked with love kind of thing.
Right,
involved in
right.
it, too.
4 hours in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Like, they gotta,
smelling it all day.
they're trying to
just like-
serve like as many
Yeah.
people as possible.
Yeah, they're just
so.
doing it for a check.
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
there's a difference.
That's
in
what they
there.
could love it too. I'm saying like other chefs do, but yeah, I do the same thing. I go in there, I squint my eyes at them and shit.
That's true. Yeah, no, there's always a difference between like doing it for a check and actually doing it because you like it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
dropping people off left and fucking just
That's
doing
a
it
check.
eyes closed, like
Yeah.
nobody cares. But then like just driving on my own, like an actual road trip or something, I actually like care, you know. I'm like, oh, let me put the turn signal on.
All right, yo. So I think it's about time where we should ask you the questions that we ask everybody.
Oh, fuck me,
I know.
I really
It was
forgot
like
about that.
we did another like fucking 20 minutes. But that's all right.
bet.
All right. So first question:
Plead the
what is
fifth.
a negative trait or habit or bad habit that you got from your mom?
Oh, that's interesting. Stubbornness. I'm hard headed as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She
like
is as well.
yeah, like dude, like even going to New York like a week ago. Like I
Mhm.
went to New York and it wasn't like anything was popping. Like I did like a show or two there and stuff, but I specifically only went because like a few of my fellow like buddy comics were like going out of the area. Like they went to like Texas and like Georgia and Florida and shit like that. And I'm sitting there like, oh fuck, man, all these guys are going out. Like I have like a few free days like I don't have to work. I'm like, screw it, let me just go to New York, and I just went to New York.
That's dope.
No, I know,
Yeah.
but it's hard headed.
No, but I know. Yeah. I feel what you.
I'm
All right.
like, yeah.
Negative trait from your dad's side or bad habit.
Oh, that's easy. Irrational.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm really.
You seem pretty rational.
Yeah, you would.
That's a
Well,
this
not
conversation.
necessarily like by the way I act and stuff like that. It's just like my choices
Yeah.
in life that kind of irrational. Like I'll just just
You'll look
like,
back at it and be like,
I
probably wasn't
think
the best
I
choice.
think I jumped the gun too quick on that like little choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
All right.
that's the two of them.
All right. Or what about what was our third question?
Good trait, bad trait. Well, we haven't done the good traits yet. But
Well, we do
Down
those
there.
at the end.
oh, is it the
Oh,
sex question? Oh, yeah.
Okay, so how and when and like who taught you about sex?
Who taught me?
Yeah. Like how'd you learn about
Like,
it?
did
You
your
know what I'm
parents do like
saying?
to sit down? Because some families
No.
don't. Yeah. I was gonna say-
Exactly.
God,
bro.
Or they say, don't you ever
No.
have sex because I'm not taking care of another child.
No. Okay, no. The first time, like, I don't think me, but just being Muslim like me, like, I've
That's
never
what-
had
yeah,
the fucking
yeah.
sex talk ever. The only time, like, the only
Hell no.
time that, like, the idea of me being, like, a fucking human being occurred with my parents was, like, my mom found my porno DVD one time.
Oh God.
Oh, I know. Fuck, I'll never forget
Oh
that.
my
Because-
God. In a
because-
Muslim
yeah,
household,
and,
bro.
like-
Probably worse than your situation with the bowl. Probably.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
and
yeah.
like devout, So
Yeah.
and the
Oh,
thing about it
shit.
was it was like it was my boy that gave it to me, and it was like a parody porn, and it was like based on like carnival acts and shit like that.
Oh,
So
my
it'd be like, oh,
God.
she's got like dildo for hands, or like say like they'd be like one scene.
So it's not just like
Yeah.
you make out with porno.
Yeah.
Like this guy's sick, dude.
Yeah, so it'd be like there was like one scene of like
Clown
you ever
porn.
see like those like four like those fake pair of titty kind of things? Like, it'd be like one chick with like two of them and like regular ones. And so my mom thought like, oh my god, I raised like
That's
a
how you make a
creep.
comedian right there.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You take a
Oh,
conservative
so-
guy and you have his mom catch you with clown porn.
Yeah, so she like totally just thought I was just a
Oh
disgusting
my
like
God.
for just the
That's
longest
pretty
fucking
savage.
time.
Oh, man.
God damn.
Yeah.
That might have answered our next question,
Oh,
which is
shit.
what's the most trouble you ever got in?
Oh, that wait.
That had to
shit.
be it. There can't be more than that. Clown
I'm trying
porn?
to think.
I like how I'm just calling it clown porn.
I'm trying to think of like what's the okay I'm trying to think of what the worst possible thing that ended up like as a kid.
yeah,
Like-
yeah.
Like okay,
Or just-
let's get.
I mean,
let's,
you
let's
could-
not get serious with like adulthood.
well,
that kind
you
of
can
thing.
answer it
I don't know,
however you want to
Camilo's
answer
shit was
it.
like from like 2 weeks ago.
But it's a comedy. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Camille got in trouble with his dad like the most in his life.
like a month before
like a
our
month.
podcast. That was
Yeah.
like the most.
Oh well, no. Like I ended up like I called. Yeah, like I did it, but everybody did it. Like prank call, like 911 one time. But like
Yeah.
I apparently was like over dramatic with it, and like
Oh
kinda
my
acted it
god!
out,
You
and like
sold it.
Yeah.
oh yeah, no, I sold it like, oh, it's a kidnapping kind of stuff. Like,
Oh
yeah, I know.
my
We
God,
got him that
bro.
kind of deal. Like I went overtly, and then I hung up the phone like laughing and shit like that.
they
And
got
then
your number.
I was up in like what you call it? It was like kind of like one of those duplexes things, and I was like upstairs in me and like my brother's bedroom, and all of a sudden I see like red and blue, like flashing, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck? And I stick my head out. Holy shit! It was so many fucking cops. I was like, oh,
Kidnapping, bro. They probably
fuck.
called SWAT.
Oh yeah, no, this was like a whole
They
like
did?
yeah,
Oh
teams
my
and everything.
God, son.
And then it like none of my parents were there, so I was like, oh,
my
bet.
God.
And but
He
like,
said bet.
but no, but my older sister was there. She obviously told them, and it was
Yeah.
like a whole fucking thing. And yeah, that was not a
Now
good
you
day.
called pretending to be the police, or you called pretending
No,
to
he
be
called
an
the
emergency?
police,
No,
pretending
I-
he was kidnapped and shit.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
shit!
I
damn,
called like
yeah.
I was one of like they kidnapped people and then I broke
Wow.
away free like
Yeah,
in
it's
the
like, help,
Die Hard
I'm in the
or
closet,
something.
yeah,
like I
wow.
was John McClane kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then they were
He's like, help! I don't know what to do.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh, please help!
Yeah.
And the
Damn.
cops showed up. Wow, dude.
Yeah, good
That's
times.
So when
that's
your parents
wild.
did find out,
Oh,
Oh.
they really beat the shit out of
Yeah,
me.
yeah. I mean, what do you-
Yeah. No, it was like case closed.
You
But
got munished.
yeah. Yeah, so that was probably like the worst because of the reaction, like my
Yeah.
age, because it was like the first year I was in America, and then like B, just the amount of like
yeah,
it accrued. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
dude.
Wait, did you still have an accent?
Yeah.
Please, please, help me.
I am being kidnapped.
I'm being kidnapped.
Yeah.
imagine
He's
had you
so
been
scary.
white, they would have called
I'm
him like
like,
the
"Please
National Guard.
That's so funny. A little kid with an accent doing prank phone calls on the police.
Yeah, they took it real
That's
seriously.
hilarious.
Yeah.
All right. What's a good trait you got from your mom or a good habit?
Let's see. I mean, generally, like, being pretty, like, chill with it, not letting the big stuff, like, and not the big stuff, the small stuff, like, hit me. Like, I'm generally, like, cool and pleasant with most people.
I was about to say big stuff, man. I commend you. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, no, that was
Fucking
about
life's
to-
falling apart. It's all
No,
good.
no. I mean, well, yeah.
Alright.
like,
Be alright, yeah.
I mean, been
Yeah,
there,
maybe.
like,
Yeah.
been there before. So
Yeah.
like that kind of aspect of it, and it kind of, that personality works out well. It seems like it's working out well in comedy a lot
Mhm.
more. So just because, I mean, you could tell me if I'm wrong or stuff, but like, obviously you want to be like a killer on the stage and shit like that. But it seems like it's pretty important to be like someone that's like cool to hang out with.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No.
Like
Yeah,
if you're
you gotta
just,
be
like,
likable, man.
yeah, like if
Yeah.
you're antisocial, it seems like it's gonna like hinder your career to like a certain degree. You
I mean, it's a little more in comedy than everywhere else, but everywhere else that's
Yeah.
important too. Is to
Yeah,
be able to
yeah.
just be able to like be a likable person, be
Yeah.
someone that some people want to be around. It's like, but in comedy because it's such like who you know and like
Yeah.
who you network with and who you do that, it matters more. But that's good. That's good.
Yeah, yeah. So I try to, I'm trying to keep that up in there, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck
Nah,
yeah,
I
man.
mean, shit. Like, what? This is you're our third guest. We're like, yeah, we fuck with Lateef.
Yeah,
you
let's
know?
bring
It's like,
Lateef through.
Like, this isn't gonna get you anything except 12 viewers, but
Yeah.
we're gonna have fun,
appreciate
man.
the
Yeah.
12 fucking
Hey man,
viewers.
we've
That's
been in the hundreds.
12
Oh
more,
yeah.
12 more than I have, so it works out. But like it seems like it's like a better like way of doing it. I mean, you're right
Yeah.
for everything really, but especially with comedy, because okay, I guess another thing. Tell me if I'm wrong or not, but it seems like for like whenever to be put on showcases and stuff, it's not necessarily like with the guy who's running it like an objective thing. He's not looking at like 3 comics. All right, these are the 3 funniest fucking people who I like know that I can ask. It's more so I get along with these 3 people.
Yeah.
and that's
A lot of it is booked through that.
Yeah.
You would
Like-
think that it would just be objective, but
Yeah.
I mean,
I like if I ever get to that idea, I'd like to be that way. Just be like, all right, these fuckers are either A, really funny, or B, they bring a lot of people in. Like
Yeah.
one or the other. I don't like. I guess I get like the whole friend aspect of it, but it just seems like.
but you're still gonna have the stress of, all right, you want to make sure it's balanced out.
Yeah.
As far as can these comics relate to the wide
Yeah.
range of audience in the area? So you want to, which can be a headache. And nothing wrong with you, but you just want to make sure you get.
Booking
people.
in general is
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
you know what I mean. It's just like reaching out to all these people. Yo, come by. Here's the rule. Here's my rules I'm setting for my show. Here's
Yeah.
the times. Please
Yeah.
don't be late. Please do this
Yeah.
or do that because of what the venue wants. And it's like, comics are comics, so it's, a lot of them like hit you up day of like, yeah, all right, like nah, dog, like it's
Yeah.
too late or whatever. So you
Yeah.
just hit the people who I think like just being like competent and reliable is like you're
That goes a long
yeah,
way.
dude. I'm serious.
Yeah.
And then the likable part is like the added bonus because it's
Yeah.
like you.
All right, yeah,
Yeah.
like I'd love to have him around for this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It'd be a good
yeah.
time.
I know the whole likability thing. Like that's been like, because I was talking about it with Nottingham and stuff. Like
Mhm.
that's been my goal for the past few months is to like do my set, like my sets and stuff, smiling. I have to because like like I kind of go off like politically incorrect kind of stuff, and it's just I'll say it with like a straight face, and then people will be like, but it kind of hits different if I'm just like sitting there like smiling and everything like that.
That's the
The
hard.
Trump joke that
The-
I have, my new one.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I did it. I've done it twice. Once, like I'm gonna play this off serious.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll make the punchline hit further because I'm
Yeah.
like, the joke is like I miss Trump. Do you guys miss Trump?
Yeah.
So so the first time I did it, it worked, but that's because I like did it with a smile. So they already know I'm joking.
Yeah.
But obviously I'm joking. I'm doing a comedy set, right?
Yeah.
But even in that context, it's like those little things. But yeah.
It's, yeah, I'm trying because you're right because I kind of felt that way. Like I'm like, bro, I'm here on stage. Like everything I'm saying is for the
It's
vein
not.
of being funny, but somehow they don't see it. A lot of people
Well,
don't see it that
projected
way.
in a way for them to receive like
The whole
It's
thing
tough,
of comedy
but-
though is it's not like, yeah, I'm joking. It's the illusion
Yeah.
of you're just talking.
Yeah,
And things that you say are incidentally funny.
it's true, but it's just a hard dance to do, especially
Yeah,
if you
man.
like,
It's so hard.
especially if you try to go like with the whole, what's called politically incorrect kind of grain, because it hits different if I say it with a straight face. Like maybe you gotta word it a little differently as opposed to just saying it, with the hey and then like that kind of deal.
Well, yeah, but it's subtle. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's all. That's what I'm saying. Like the joke that I'm not doing it like this or like whatever. It's
Somewhere in that
literally
happy
like
medium.
a smirk, like
Yeah.
a half a smile, and that can whatever. I mean, I don't know. But
Yeah.
I haven't done it enough to really know, and I'm not that strong enough of a comic. But this is just sort of what I'm feeling or like how I feel about the thing.
No, even like the smirk works because at least they know. But I always thought it
I'm
was
being.
but
This is
it's-
tongue in cheek.
But you
This
get what
is
I,
like,
but you get what I mean. I would have just thought that was known.
Apparent,
Yeah,
yeah.
like it's
Nope.
just
But
no.
if you do it keep it the way you have it, because you like the way it hits, just that next line could be important to kind of like if you lost somebody, bring them back with something like, y'all know I'm just fucking around, like, or just
No. Do you just,
not saying that line. Not I'm just saying, but like.
Oh, I know. Oh, I guess I know what you mean.
Like
where,
if they're not hitting, it's like, oh, you must not keep up with today's topic, or like just
yeah.
like not shitting on the audience, but kind
No,
of
the thing is just repetition, right?
Yeah.
You try it every way,
in a different type
Yeah.
of
in
way.
a different type of way. You try it with a different inflection. And that's the thing is like, don't try to change too many variables on your jokes. All right, I'm gonna do that word for word exactly the same way, except I'm gonna do it a little serious or a little fun or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you just whichever one works the best, that's the one you
Keep
start.
working,
You,
keep riding
you
it.
keep
Yeah.
doing
It's
it
just-
that way.
I know. I feel on what you say. It's just I feel like the hardest way to like say comedy, at least in my experience so far, is saying it with a straight face.
Oh yeah,
Like the straight.
You're
That's
not
hard.
deadpan, that's
Yeah,
all, yeah.
it's hard.
that
to,
works for some people.
It's
yeah.
hard to do, and like I think I'm realizing that I'm not like that, the straight face kind of thing. So I gotta do something to be a little more lively, but I don't want to
Yeah.
sit there and just like waka waka waka, like
right,
you know what
right,
I mean?
right.
Like
yeah.
somewhere in that happy medium.
Yeah, you'll find there'll be a medium where you're just like you're not being deadpan,
Yeah.
but you're also not just being like a clown where you're like, yeah, whoa, and like not going too
Yeah.
much. So you'll find it, and then it'll be comfortable, and it'll start killing. And it's just like,
Nah, you're right. And then it starts being with like a whole topic thing. Like if you like your Donald Trump joke and stuff, it's one of those things where like I mean, have I heard the Donald Trump joke?
I don't know. I don't
I
think
think,
so.
but it's one of those things where like as soon as you talk about the guy, there's gonna be like people that hate it and people that love the subject is based on the whole political
Yeah,
deal
but you
of
can't
it.
look at that. Fucking,
I don't
if it's
care
your
about that,
material.
But
yeah.
then, like, no, I don't give
Yeah.
a fuck about that either. I'm just talking about like how you would deliver it.
Oh,
But
based
then,
off that
like,
real-
yeah,
yeah.
based on like, am I gonna say it straight face? Am I gonna be more like lively with it? Like,
That's what I'm gonna have to. I just have
Yeah.
to do it a bunch of times and learn.
figure
So
it
that's
out.
the thing. It's the thing is like, I'm willing for this to do this, like 20 times and bomb, You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to try and unlock it, because if at number 15 I figure it out how I can say this idea, this premise, and this punchline,
Yeah.
and it gets a good reaction, and then it starts getting a good reaction every time, it's like I have a great bit right now.
No, it's true.
That's all it is. It's just trying to unlock what about this particular thing is funny and how to present it in the funniest way. It's like, oh wait, sorry, what's a positive? Wait, we already asked a positive from your dad side and
Mom and dad.
so we hit that.
So
Oh,
what?
last question, because we're going way over what we normally do.
I was assuming that's a good thing.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
Yeah,
It
cool.
is. Fuck yeah, dog.
Yeah, good,
I
yeah.
just we were getting so bogged down into talking comedy, bro. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And we could all do that for fucking ever.
Yeah.
That's true. And then, well, I guess it just depends on what the last question is. It's not like explain life, Latif. Like,
Yeah,
that,
right.
yeah.
No, well, all right.
Oh,
What's
shit.
your parents' proudest moment of you?
Oh, okay. Let's think about this one for a second. The proudest moment of parents. I don't know. I mean, I guess like going, because moving to like LA, be like at a ridiculously young age and shit like that, and
Yeah.
then the idea that I think they had this premonition that I was gonna end up coming back like after 6 months or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that it ended up being like like over a decade
Right.
thing where like I ended up opening up like a boxing studio and like became like a pro fighter out of it and the whole nine. I think that kind of aspect of it, they're probably the most
Yeah.
proud
I'm
of,
telling you, self-sufficiency is
Yeah.
like that's
Sure.
the main. That's gonna be the main answer, because that was my answer too.
yeah, like
just being able to like just, especially for like I think immigrant kids is like just being sufficient
Yeah.
in America. I want my kids I just want them to know that they're gonna be okay on their own.
especially because it's not really like the strongest of like professions to fall back on. Like
Yeah, yeah,
immigrant
yeah.
like kids
Oh,
are and
man.
parents, like it's college,
Right, right.
college, and I didn't go to college,
Yeah.
so that was a whole issue within itself. That it's
Boy,
not
East
even-
African boy.
You're the
Yeah.
first guest that hasn't said like college degree as
Yeah.
like the proud moment. you know?
like the whole idea,
So
especially
thank
like.
you, because we're right there with you.
Well,
Yeah.
no,
Uneducated.
yeah, well, I mean, yeah, that was the whole entire thing. Because especially coming from like I got it too. Like especially coming from another country and stuff, it was all about education because. Like the idea of actually going to school, like
Yeah.
like in the richer, like they had like one university, but there was a war going. It was
Yeah.
the whole entire
It's
thing.
like part of them coming here was for you to
Yeah.
have options to go to different
yeah,
schools.
so it was
Yeah.
kind of the whole ideal of like the the land of milk and honey, like America and stuff.
Yeah.
And you like especially coming from like third world Africa, you realize a few things. Like I it was kind of like one of the first bits like I used to do when I moved out here. Like people would be like, "Oh, you're from the projects and stuff." I'm like, "Dude, does every house have indoor plumbing? Every house like that, that kind of thing."
Yeah.
Like all the roads are paved, every single road, like that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
you know,
Perspective.
yeah,
For
yeah,
sure.
it definitely is. So the fact that like not going to college and stuff, especially with like
Yeah.
the
dangerous.
parents, yeah,
Yeah.
it was one of those things where it's like, all right, we're not paying for nothing. Like this is
Yeah.
all on you, bro.
But
I'm
you
like,
went up and did it, so I could
Yeah,
like,
so-
definitely.
so that's-
Like,
a
all
proud
right,
moment
good.
so
for
that's
them.
one of those things. That's yeah, I think that's probably the thing I'm most proud of.
That's
That's
what's
dope,
up. That's
man.
badass. Well, anyway, thank you for coming on our show,
Ah,
man.
no
We
problem,
really
bro.
appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
And look, check out Latif's mic if you're a comic or if you're an audience member, if you like it.
It's a
In
great
Falls
spot.
Church, Virginia, Fairuz Cafe. Look it up.
Yes, Fairuz Lounge.
Fairuz Lounge,
Lounge.
sorry.
Yeah.
Fairuz
Mondays,
Lounge.
6:00 showtime.
Yes.
If you're a comic, get there at 5:30 to sign up.
Yeah, or just hell, man, audience. It'd be like cool to actually like get people to come and check out the show.
Yeah,
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 It's got a
for
lively
sure.
crowd.
So audience members, all of our
Yeah,
audience
only
listeners right now, I
audience.
need you to hear me, okay?
Comics.
I know there's
fuck off.
1,000 of you
We got
listening.
enough.
Please.
Motherfuckers driving
Show
from
up, yeah.
Richmond,
I know, but
Baltimore and shit.
dude, yeah.
Anyways, yo, that's Yo, Where You From? Thanks for listening.